Well, I'm Jim Costa. Thank you for tuning back to A Cost of Living. And today we're going to talk about just the retirement statistics, kind of where we're at and where, if we keep going down the path that we are as individuals, chances are you're not going to retire where you want to be, and kind of what those statistics say, and then the one thing that you can do to actually change that and be in a better situation for retirement than where you are headed. So let's just go over some of the stats right now. I'll try to put a virtual blackboard on here so that way we can actually have the numbers in front of you and they kind of make sense. I know sometimes when people start throwing statistics out, it kind of gets overwhelming. But on the flip side, I'm also somebody that, give me the numbers, show me what to do and what they are. So let's take a look at what they are. So essentially where we're at right now is 22% of Americans have less than $5,000 saved for retirement. And 15% had no retirement savings. This is in 2019. So it's, 2015, you're talking about 35-40%. I don't really consider $5,000 much of retirement. But I guess the good news is a year prior, 31% had less than 5,000 and 21% had no retirement at all. So that was over 50%. So we are improving a little bit, but we're still not there. So essentially 25% to 40%, depending on how you want to look at the numbers, they don't have any retirement at all. So, why is this? I think it's because nobody triple Ds, as you see up there. And what you need to do is you kind of need to define your retirement, and then you need to develop it, and then you actually need to deliver on it. And so we're going to kind of help you do that with sharing some more of these statistics and what they mean. So essentially defining it, 80% of Americans, they don't know how much money they need for retirement. They don't understand retirement planning. So we're going to hopefully try to demystify some of that. And hopefully at the end, you'll see why this should be important to you. So essentially, Americans in general between the ages of 55 and 64, which, you're getting ready for retirement. Most people want to retire at 65. They only have 12% of what they actually need to retire. And why is that? A lot of it is just a lack of planning. Almost half of Americans don't even start retirement planning until after the age of 36. So if you're under 36 right now and you actually have done something in some kind of planning, well, you're ahead of half of Americans right now. So really what they need to do is they need to develop this plan. And, so to develop it, you need to understand it. And right now, people that are retiring at the age of 65, so if you're turning 65 right now, the average life expectancy of a man is 84, and the average life expectancy of a woman is 87. So you got another 20 plus years that your retirement is supposed to fund, for the rest of your life there. And I guess kind of one of the concerns that I have is, 71% of Americans say they're afraid that they're going to run out of Social Security. Well, if you're close to retirement now, then obviously that is a big fear. And if you're, if you're young, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, don't count on Social Security. That's kind of what our whole plan is here. And my hopes for you guys is that you start making plans now that Social Security, if it comes, is just a cherry on top. We want to get you to the point where you're living a life better than half of the people that are out there. And again, it's this defining and the developing that people for retirement, they just don't realize how much it actually costs. When you get ready to retire, the average retiree spends $4,300 a year just in healthcare costs. That's quite a bit. And then they spend on average on about $46,000 per year in living expenses. And depending on where you get your resources at, it can go up to about $55,000. Now, obviously, some of you are thinking, why I live in a place that's less expensive? And I understand that. So if you want to retire and you go, I want to go to New Mexico or, parts of Arizona, in different places where the cost of living is a little bit less expensive, yes, you can do that. And so maybe you're going to be closer to the $46,000 mark. But our goal, again, is to get you to the point where you have that choice. You don't have to go if you don't want to. And the average healthy couple will spend about $377,000 on healthcare and retirement. So you can see with just the the amount of money that people have in savings is just not going to get them through retirement. So you need to change some things that you're doing. One of the biggest things is, again, 55 to 64. So right up to retirement, you're getting ready to retire. The average net worth is about $187,000. Again, depending on where you're pulling your sources. I've checked several sources. Go ahead and check fact and pull your own. You're going to see they're going to fall right around there. In fact, I got another source actually from the Census Bureau. And the Census Bureau, same age bracket, 55 to 64. They say that the average net worth of people at 64 is $194,000. And that's the median, not the average. So for those of you that don't understand the difference between median and average is pretty much, kind of what you grew up in school with. You take all the numbers, you add them all up, and then you divide them by how many numbers there are. Now the problem with the average is you take the people like the Bill Gates and the Zuckerbergs, and you take their net worth and you're dividing it up equally to how many people are much lower. And so what the median does is, what the median essentially is saying is, at 194,000, half of the people are below that number and half of the people are above the number. Not half the number, but half the people. So it's a little bit different. And of that 194, that includes a house, your primary residence. So if you take the equity of your house out of it, that number drops down to 76,000. So you can see that at 64, if the median is only 76,000, you're going to retire broke. There's just not enough there. And if you're black or Hispanic, that number's about cut in half. And so we need to think of ways. Obviously you've heard kind of the things out there in the different videos, if you guys have been looking around, that home ownership, the amount of savings for home ownership versus non-home ownership is much higher. The net worth is much higher. You can see it's over double. So part of my goal throughout my videos here is to help prepare you guys to get into a house, but not just a house, an asset. And know your primary home is not an asset. And we can get into that later. But anyway, kind of going back to the delivery side of it is, once you've kind of developed what it is that you need, we've covered some of the statistics of what you need. Even when you're ready to retire, my house will be paid off and, I won't have to worry about it. My expenses are going to be a lot less. But in reality, almost half, 46% of homeowners between 65 and 79 actually have a debt on their home. So to kind of keep that in mind, if you think you're going to have your house paid off, you're probably not. And, if you're a little bit older, 30, 40, 45, just think about it. You're 45 years old, you kind of moved into your dream home to kind of finish raising your kids. They're in high school and whatnot. Chances are you either bought the house recently or you refinanced it recently and you just redid a 30-year mortgage. So if you're in your 40s and you just refinanced your house, or you're looking at moving and you're getting another 30-year mortgage, you're pushing 70, 75 before your house is going to pay off. So that kind of is right in line with the statistic. And again, we're trying to get you to the point of where you start saving up some money for retirement. And I guess the main reason is because when you get to retirement, your expenses are going to be a lot higher than what you expect. Half of the Americans right now that are 65 and over, their annual income is just $24,000 a year. And you can see just the medical costs alone are gonna use up that money, and with your living expenses. So my parents, they got pensions, or I got pensions, I'm with the school district or whatnot. Well, again, the median pension is just between $9,000 and $22,000. So that's not going to get you there either. So one of the things too you want to think about with the pensions is it's based on your current salary. So even like a school teacher, school teachers, they actually make pretty good money. Just here in Washington State, the average teacher's making $50,000 on top of benefits and everything else. And so it's not a bad gig. It's a lot of work too, working with kids, and I appreciate that and understand that. And I tip my hats to the teachers. There's a lot of other issues I don't like, but and we're not going to get into that now. But you have the, they have a pension plan as well. But if you think about it, say you're in your 30s and you're teaching and you're making $50,000 and your pension is $50,000 that you're going to get when you retire, you're talking 30 years down the road. So what is that $50,000 going to be worth 30 years down the road? As a good example, my father-in-law is a teacher, or he was a teacher, and he got a pension from his Cal benefits, from California. And the problem was it was based on his salary back when he was a teacher, making $7,000 a year. So even if you're making 100% of your salary, it's still not going to cover your expenses based with inflation and everything else. And, inflation is coming. You can't pump $8 trillion into the economy and not have inflation coming. And that's not even talking about our infrastructure package that we're probably going to be passing here in the next 12 months. So anyway, we want you to start thinking about these things and how to start putting things away for this and how to kind of go to the next level. And once you've triple D'd your retirement, is how to double D it and really go to that next level. One of the things, I'm just going to inherit some money from my parents, or something like that. Well, again, half of retirees, they die with less than $10,000 in their retirement account. So I don't want to be doom and gloom, but, I wouldn't count on that. And again, our goal is to get you to be independent, to take care of your own future, and to do things that are going to set you up. As far as retirees, we talked about the average life expectancy of a male and female, but, reality is that 1 in 4 65-year-olds, so if you're 65 right now, 25% of you are going to live past the age of 90. So you have to be sure you have enough money saved up. And look, if you're already in retirement age, there's some things that we can plan and do to kind of help with that, and we'll kind of get into that with some of the other videos. But the idea too is to start as young as possible, and hopefully we can cover some of that. And again, my goal for you guys is that you'll start realizing that you can control your own future, start putting things away now, and start planning for your retirement so that you can retire early, not wait to 65. I know for me, I wanted to retire early, and I was able to do that. 1%, just 1% of Americans retire before the age of 50. I was able to do it at 45. Again, not to gloat, the point is that if you're going to listen to somebody, you want to be sure that they actually were able to do it. And that's what I want to talk to you about. 54% of people have some type of retirement strategy, but only 12% write it down. So my goal is for you to write this down. If you have it in your head, that's great. But unless you write it down and you actually define it, you start developing it, figure out what it is that you're going to do, and then actually deliver it. You want to implement these plans that you're doing. And so the one thing that you could do different than what you're doing now, and again, I was able to retire not from some six-figure job. I've made a working class salary my whole life. It wasn't because of my job that I was able to retire. It was because of this one thing. It was because of my side hustle. And that's what I want you guys to start thinking about, is to start thinking about a side hustle. And what do I mean by a side hustle? A side hustle is something that generates money from you that's not your primary job. Again, this is taking a passion, this is taking something that you're interested in and finding a way to monetize that. So, and then that's the first step, is once we can figure out how to monetize it and make some money off of it, we want to double D that. It's not a matter of spending your money. It's a matter of investing that money in yourself. This is the you money, the you fund. I understand that, this could be anything. Maybe you enjoy crafts and creating things. Well, maybe we can figure out a way how to monetize some of that and start selling some of your crafts and selling some of your stuff, and realize that some of that money is going to have to go back into supplies, but for the most part to generate some extra money. if you go, hey, but Jim, I don't have any hobbies. I'm not good at anything. Well, look, you can work a Saturday, one extra shift. And we're talking about a minimum wage job here. So I don't care what your salary is. This isn't for the wealthy. It isn't for the poor. This is for everybody. Look, you could be making minimum wage. Let's say $15 an hour. I know it's not quite minimum wage, but they're talking about changing the minimum wage to 15. But even minimum wage at one extra shift of 8 hours at $15 an hour, a little over $120, but take home, about $100 a week. If that's all you do is work one extra shift a week, and again, we could do a side hustle to do this too. And that's where I want to get you to go towards. But the idea is to just generate $100 a week. If you can generate $100 a week and put that money towards you, and that's your account, your retirement, your future, you will retire a multimillionaire. And we will show you how to do that in the next video. How to take your side hustle of $100 a week on minimum wage and turn yourself into a millionaire. And most importantly is find a way to create residual income. Residual income is the key to financial independence. It's a way to generate income whether you get up and walk out that door in the morning or not. At some point in your life, you're not going to be able to work anymore. Hopefully there's going to be some point where you're not going to want to work anymore and you'll be able to do that. Now, that's not to say you're not going to work at all. I mean, the joy of retirement is you get to choose where you want to work. And we're hoping to get you to that point. Hey, well, Jim, I don't like my job now. It doesn't matter if you like your job now. You don't have to like your job now. I don't want to work an extra Saturday. Well, suck it up, Buttercup. Look, the reason why you do your job is you do your job to pay your bills. And let's face it, nobody likes paying bills. So that's the idea, is that you have your job to pay your bills, you have your side hustle to take care of yourself and for your retirement and for your future. Look, if you don't like your job, that's a good thing. If you don't like your job, one of two things are going to happen. You either don't like your job and it's going to force you to want to better yourself. You're going to actually go out and get a different job. Or two, it's going to make you focus on your side hustle more so that you don't have to always do your job. Either way, it's a win. So, the fact that you don't like your job, we're going to figure out ways how to increase your employee net worth. And we'll talk about that in future videos as well. So, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pike. I wanted to throw this information out to you so you get a general idea of why you need to change what you're doing now. If you do what you're doing now, half you are going to retire broke or poor. And then, and that's even staggered up for the next 50%. So in reality, there's only about 20% that actually are retiring comfortable. We want to get you to that 20%. So please help me triple D this video. Help me define it by smashing that like button. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. And then by all, purposes, help me develop this channel by subscribing. Subscribe, hit that bell button. You get notified of the new videos that are coming out. But most importantly, help me deliver this message to other people you think might benefit from this, and share it. The best thing at all is this doesn't cost you anything. So please triple D this video, and that will help give a double D to your triple D. And the next thing is, please tune into my next video when it comes out. We'll get you about how to take that side hustle, get you to the millionaire status. Look, it's going to be hard work. This isn't a get-rich-quick type of website. This is financial independence, financial freedom, and it's going to take work and it's going to take years. But again, if you're diligent about it, you can do it much earlier than most people. I did it at 45. You can do it sooner if you just put some work into it. And understanding all this, understanding how to retire and putting a plan together, understanding how this stuff works together, how to get your side hustle, how to double D on your triple D, how to get double-digit returns, how to take $100 and turn it into $1,000, how to take $1,000 and turn it into $100,000 and create residual income for yourself. That, my friends, is a cost of living. Thank you very much.